So today we are live once again, and I hope my sound is coming good. Let me check my sound one. Give me a second. I'm checking my sound setting so it says external microphone and it's okay. So once again we are here checking some of the engineering blocks regarding React. Maybe React, regarding React, or if not, we can go with other blocks too. But my my desire and effort will be to make this blog session, a blog study session to React and few of the framework front end related toolings. I will try my best there, but my desire and effort will be that. So ladies and gentlemen, let's check few of the blocks from Canva. How to improve search without looking at queries or result. Okay, let's accept all the cookies. Real-time mouse pointer, how they are solving this real-time mouse pointer, adding responsiveness to Canvas design system, our journey to Snowflake monitoring mastery. Let's go. So how to see groups in design? Okay, UI UX is the one, adding responsiveness to Canvas design system. This might be something interesting blog to check, and also speeding up UI tests, all those. Okay, let's just check all these blogs. Okay, it's really fun. It seems that it seems to be fun blog given by Canva. So how to use the CSS cascade to enable building responsive layouts. So what's CSS cascade? Let me just CSS cascade first. CSS cascade mean nothing but uh, what are CSS cascade? Let me just search about it on images. I think these are the CSS cascade layers, so to speak. For example, origin and importance, same origin, style attribute, layer specificity, order of appearance. But what is CSS cascade? Still, I am not sure. Layer composition, user as in style sheet, order of appearance. Okay. Still confused about CSS cascade. Web.dev might split into four distinct stages: position and order of appearance, specificity, origin, importance, position and order. Okay, I got it. CSS is also known as cascade style sheets, stands for cascading style sheets. So, I mean, and CSS is based on four rules. One is position and order of appearance, the order of which your CSS rules appear, specificity, an algorithm which determines which CSS selector has the strongest match, origin, the order of when CSS appears and when it comes from, whether that is browser style CSS from a browser extension or your authored CSS, importance. Some CSS rules are weighted more heavily than other, especially the important rule type. Got it. So this is CSS rule. These are CSS rules, and we kind of represent it as CSS cascade. Got it. Adding responsiveness to Canva design system. So how they added responsiveness. Our layout system seems to be like some of our core principle for creating consistent layouts includes a set spacing scale using 8 pixel. Really sorry. So 600 pixel is small, 900 pixel is medium, and 1200 pixel is large. And this will be the definition of breakpoints in other projects also. From this principle, we provide layout component that leaves our engineer to focus on more important things. We have a row component that places component vertically in row. Got it? Component one, two, three, right? So spacing 2 unit of spacing, as well as making it easier to construct layouts with high degree of consistency. Component also provides a simple and consistent language between designer and developer. Display grid width 100% and handle class conditional setting the row gap property. Spacing. Display grid width 100%, row gap 0%, 0 pixel, row gap 16 pixel. Okay, but what's the problem? I think I didn't got the problem actually here, so kind of confusing for me to understand this because uh, but let's just understand. It seems to be fun, so let me just try and just force my way to understand this blog. Okay. Oh, fox again! God's sake! Forgot to share the screen, guys. Let me share my screen. I'm really sorry for that. Kind of forgot to share my screen here. Also, let's set the appearance as dark theme. Can I see somewhere around here? I can't see it. Let's just leave it, or what should we do? Can we have something? Okay, we don't have anything about it. So maybe I can change my background to something like this. Okay, let's go then. Yeah, or yeah, it's okay. How to use CSS Cascade to enable building responsive layouts? Okay, and that's the problem. Our layout system is given in this way. This is the layout system of Canva. Spacing 1 unit is 8 pixel. Spacing 2 unit is row gap of 16 pixel, and all those things. For example, therefore, rows spacing 2u renders as follows. Rows spacing 2u means class rows spacing 2u, and rows means display grid and width is 100%. And that is the one. Although this solution work well to address layouts, we also had to address responsive design, obviously. So if components are going to be spaced for the part on larger screen, our components will be able to provide that flexibility. Designing a solution. The next step was deciding what a good solution should look like. We had two hard requirements: an understandable API and for it to be server-side render. What the heck is server-side rendering? All these things like SSR and clients CSR, SS server-side generation. What are these things? Like, what are these jargons? I really want to understand these things. Let's deep dive into this. This will be our next blog that we will be understand reading. Why not understand from React Dev, React's official, you know, site. I mean, react.dev, that's our official documentation site. Why not understand it from there? I can also go to react.dev, react.dev, and just go to reference, server component, React server component, and all these things will be here. We will be just understanding these things in our next section, but for now, let's, let's just assume that server side rendering means server will be giving the components and they will render, or let's say the API request will be making back and forth between client and server. That's what we understand for now. An understandable API and for it to be SSR friendly, which means using CSS media queries. Designing the API was simple enough, taking inspiration from Bread's responsive props. Okay, let's just look into Bread's responsive prop also. So what are these? These are Seek OSS GitHub.io. The guiding principle for layout in Blade is the components do not provide surrounding white space. Okay, these are what we call the guiding principle for layout. Let's just look into Seek OSS GitHub. What the? Oh wow. Oh, okay. It seems to be like some sort of Figma. Oh wow. Uh, design workflow. Wow. It seems to be like a play. Uh, Component library or some sort of yeah, a library, or design philosophy or design principle. And theme is seek job for now. It can be dogs also. For dog, we have a different kind of design, I guess, but it's not being updated. A pack is might be another theme. Okay, sick business it has might have another theme, but I can't see it being changed. But kind of makes sense, and it also have its own code. I can see that here. Oh wow, this is really interesting. I think let's not copy it because most of the platform will have its own component library, but we can definitely get inspiration from it in our future work. So designing a solution is designing the API was simple enough. Taking inspiration from that responsive props, we could use the existing specific prop and give it an object with properties representing breakpoints. Spacing default 2 unit, small op 4 unit. Mapping that onto our existing styling prop posed a different challenge. Where previously we had one class for space value, adding class for each breakpoint will have meant a lot of classes. Didn't got it, man. I didn't get it. Mapping into our existing styling posed a different challenge. Where previously we had one class for space value, adding class for each breakpoint will mean a lot of classes. Okay, mean width 600 pixels, small UP class. Okay, I mean, yeah, just adding classes for all these media queries will be, you know, pain. Does it mean that or medium of? Okay, medium of spacing, small of spacing, large of spacing. The solution means that every time we add a feature to our layout system, we have to write class for each option, for each breakpoint. How will we maintain it all? We recognize it will not scale well, so we needed something better. And aside, increasing the size of our design system is a trade-off. With a 190 million active user, many with low devices and slow connection, we want to ensure that the users have the best experience possible. Increasing the Canva bundle size results in longer loading time, impacting user experience. We take care with every new feature we add to Canva, and our design system is not different. Every new line of CSS added to our design system increases the bundle size on every page, but there is a trade-off. Adding to what our design system can handle also means reducing the custom code we needed to write, reducing the potential build size, bundle size. Okay, C is for cascade. So we needed a solution that will not only address every option at every breakpoint, but one that will allow us flexibility and ability to introduce more options in the future. Inspired by Leah Vera's blog post on this topic. Okay, let's just check that out. Okay. So Leah Vera's blog post custom properties with default 3 plus 1 strategies. When developing customizable options, component one often wants to expose various parameters of the styling as custom properties and form a sort of CSS API. This is still underutilized, but there is a library example Shoelace that already lists custom properties alongside other parts of his component APIs. Let's suppose you are designing a custom button styling that look like this. We want to support a color custom property for creating color variations by setting multiple things internally. Okay. Note that with the code above, if no color is set, there three declaration using it will be IA, CBT, and thus we will get a nearly on style text only button. Okay. I mean, I'm getting it like, bonus defaults we have property. I mean, goal is to use cascade, custom property, and the cascade to our advantage. And yeah, so custom properties might be spacing medium up, spacing small up. Okay. And spacing default is zero. Spacing internal row gap will be spacing internal. Spacing internal will be var spacing default. Spacing default is zero. In this case, spacing small up will be spacing default. Spacing default is zero. Spacing internal will be spacing small up, which will be spacing default. Awesome. Wow. Spacing default is 16 pixel. Spacing small up is 32 pixel. Wow. I think I got it. Yeah. Instead of one class selector per space value, we have 10 by the way. We now have one class selector per breakpoint. We have custom property of each breakpoint and so on. And this directly is style tag in the style tag. There is also one more property which we have called spacing internal. This is called Lee class a pseudo private custom property which prevents long fallback chains. Otherwise, the large breakpoint will look something like row gap var spacing large up var spacing medium up bar spacing small up bar all. This works by leveraging the CSS specificity of inline style. Okay, awesome. Spacing internal, spacing default. Let's just look into this code once again. So we came from this system, layout system, row gap of 8 pixel, and spacing 2u, spacing 3u, and then in a media query we came with spacing up scale, small up spacing 0, row gap of 0 pixel, row gap of 8 pixel. We came from here, you know, we came from here and to this implementation. This implementation has spacing default set to 0. We don't need to set pixel or anything because we are using we are using bar, and let me just check CSS var cascading style sheet md and docs. The var can be used to insert the value of a custom property, sometimes known as CSS variable, instead of any part of the value. Okay, border color var, color a, color b, color c. Got it. Yes, awesome, awesome. Bar is for defining it. So spacing default is 16 pixel. Spacing small of is 32 pixel. Got it. Medium up, small up. Okay, I think works fine. Like, and somehow some concept I got it, some concept I could not grasp it. So I think I should leave it as it is for now. Let's just look into some other blogs. CSS is absolutely positioning things relatively. Speed up UI testing with Codesep, JS, and Playwright. I mean, we can see that picking color via eyedropper on web app. How we left manual UI testing behind. Localize and design in every language at once. Embeddable content. Let's just see more of it. Okay. Codesep, JS, and Playwright. Lesson learned from migrating 100 plus browser functional tests from GIMP, WebDriver IO, and Sauce Labs to Codesep, JS, and Playwright. What the heck is Codesep JS actually? Let's just look into it. Codesep JS. Okay, we have a flexible interactive web. What is it like? Codesep JS supercharged end-to-end testing. Codesep demo. Awesome. Open source MIT license framework works with your favorite frontend framework. Scenario driven, reach locator, driver agnostic. All these features are here. Okay, it's a framework for end-to-end testing. I can see that. And let's just read the blog first, okay, and make sense of it later on. At Canva, we empower the world to design by providing a powerful and intuitive user interface that anyone can use. However, with 75 million people using Canva each month, more than 350 front-end engineers making 160 plus changes per day, we have kept our front-end working as expected. Our way we ensure stability is by writing browser functional tests that mimic how a user interacts with Canva. These functional tests are run for every change and must pass in our continuous integration pipeline before changes are accepted into Canva code base. Got it. In our blog post, we will recount our test for platform teams experience migration, browser functional tests from Chimp, WebDriver IO, and Source Labs to Codesep.js and Playwright. Got it. Problem with our original framework. So, what's the problem with the original framework? In 2017, we began rebuilding Canva's front-end architecture so that development could scale to handle thousands of engineers working together. We decided to use a testing framework called Chimp 1.0 to write a front-end functional test using Cucumber, WebDriver, all these things, right? And which enable test to automatically we made a local change. For example, feature page editor dot editing dot pages scenario add a page. Given I visit the editor page and I see a canvas and I can canvas contain one page. When I click the add page button, then canvas contain two page. That's the scenario, right? So feature, this is the given specific feature, and this is the given scenario, and there is duplicating a page. Given I visit the editor page, I see the canvas contain one page, I can see one page control. When I click the duplicate page button, canvas contain two page, and page one is the same as page two. Got it? So this is the given scenario, and we are trying to find the problem with the original framework, which was web. This combination of all these things, SIMP 1.0 and some other frameworks, those were combined for end-to-end testing. While SIMP worked for us for several years, SIMP fell behind on updates and fixes for Cucumber and WebDrive IO. The old Cucumber version has performance issue and processed all support files, even if you want to run one test. And the number of tests grew from 100 to 1,000. The test start up time went from second to several minutes. We explored the upgrading to the latest. I mean, all these things that happen when the platform is bigger, and yeah, the typical problem. So it reduced productivity and lowered quality. Oh, yeah, we got that. What did we do? Support TypeScript. The new framework needed to, but upgrading the internal component didn't work, so we switched to a whole new framework. Support TypeScript so that it was considered for our front-end code base, had active development, accepting external contributions, so it's less likely to become outdated. Okay, support our existing test setup, Cucumber, while migrate to the new framework. So test setup was in Cucumber, and support using drivers and libraries such as Playwright for web test and APM for web and mobile test. Okay, support testing and much. So CodeShip.js came in the picture. That supports all the headless browsers such as those provided by a Playwright, and all those things where CodeShip.js fulfill all our requirement and had good documentation and great community. A detailed look at our journey and how we set up our new framework, Simp like API with pseudo locators. Also, what are these things? Supporting sync and async API with code modes. Okay, what? What's mode? Improving Safari test runs. How we migrate our existing tests. Let's just look into what are a locator. What are pseudo locators? I mean pseudo locators. Pseudo selectors are a way to select element in a document tree based on pseudo class, pseudo element, pseudo locator, other locator, content pseudo class in CSS selector. Okay. In addition to recommended locators like page.getByRole, page.getByText, Playwright supports a variety of other locator design described in the guide. CSS locator, page.locator, CSS is equals to button or click. So these are pseudo locator. I didn't get it. One of the guiding principles of the migration was keeping code changes to a minimum. We first decided to create a wrapper around the code subjects that is resemble the same API to support both test framework. This will allow us to inject the correct framework during runtime, depending on which framework we wanted to run. Trying to get concept just to behave like Gym proved harder than anticipated. There were fundamental differences in some API, and often there wasn't matching API available to concept just. Got it. WebDrive allows the use of multiple selector strategies, which involve chaining to find element commands such as browser, editor, canvas, element. However, course only supported one level of chaining, which didn't satisfy our need. We introduced pseudo element object when using the first element command that internally kept track of the selector. When actions were triggered, we would join the underlying selector in the pseudo element in one selector, such as browser. Or man, what what a Zugadu concept, like. So instead of multi-level chaining, multiple selector chaining, why not keep track of the underlying selectors in a given pseudo element, so that later on we can uh, you know extract each of these and create multi-level chaining. Okay, CodeShip GS doesn't support, only support one level chaining. Because of that, they did that. Okay, supporting sync and async API with code modes. Actually, what's code mode? Always wanted to look into code mode, but I was not able to get exactly what it is. Code migration as a service. Uh, fuck. Later on. Okay. What? Not okay. Deep dive in CSS. Oh, yeah, we will look into it next. Okay. Largest issue we faced was the chimp API was synchronous while the code shape.js was asynchronous. Ah, shit. So these two things are totally different. If one is synchronous, if another is asynchronous, then what can be done is so one needs to get asynchronous, I guess, or one needs to get synchronous, or I don't know. Chimpy uses fibers to make asynchronous action synchronous. Okay, but Fiverr's authors announced they will no longer maintain this feature. All the other major test frameworks use asynchronous API too. So regardless of which framework we choose, we needed to change our test to use asynchronous interaction, obviously. So, but Simp is synchronous. Yeah. Okay. SimBP was synchronous while the was asynchronous. Supporting both framework meant making our existing framework continue working with we started adding asyncs and await to the code base. Unfortunately, adding asyncs and await caused the Cucumber steps. The older Cucumber was drawn out of order and there was no fix for it. Such a pain in the ass, man. We then explored the possibility of using code modes at compiler time. Okay, so code mode we don't know about it. Compiler time into it syncs and awaits. Using code mode was our preferred option because it meant we didn't have to update our test code, but it proved too difficult to apply the correct transformation for our generative work. Other functions such as for each or filter are examples that require complex transformation. These functions don't work with async and awaits, and changing them from a function into a for loop is not a straightforward transformation in most cases. Instead, we did the opposite and wrote a code mode to remove asyncs and await to work for our existing framework. These code modes work well but had some minor downside, such as slightly skewed stack traces and slightly slower execution time, but were manageable. But still, this still meant we needed to add async await to all our tests. We will talk about this challenge later in the process. JS didn't provide watch mode out of the box, but this wasn't necessary for us. Almost all our engineers rely on watch mode to develop front-end tests as it provides a faster and seamless developer experience. We use TS Node Dev to watch for any code changes and program involve how to see if any changes are made. Obviously, TS. What's the TS Node Dev? Okay. Compile TS and restarts your files are modified. Okay. And I can use it in my app anyway, in any way. Like yarn at TS Node Dev. TS Node Dev. So just combine Node Dev and TS Node. This also sort of nice. Okay. Points of notice issues. I mean, don't we have any website or documentation site? Quick version of Node Dev that uses TS Node or the got it. Node 1. It's just like Node 1, right? Because there is no need to instantiate it. TS Node comparison each time. Okay, got it. But okay, it's okay. Code.js doesn't give it, so they use TS Node Dev. So supporting coexisting type declaration for both framework. Passage in TypeScript typing. Okay, improving Safari test run. Existing running both framework in CI. Migrating the actual test code. We need to add async and to all the tests, making function asynchronous also mean any calling function need to become asynchronous. In example, we are await to this document. I mean, we also needed async await in the step definition. That was calling it. Yeah. Hmm. Automating the code transformation. We took inspiration from okay. They really automated it. Like instead of using code mode to add async during compile and create two script mode to aware and other sort of like async. To avoid, we customize the S-Lane no floating promise zone to find a synchronous one. What the fuck? Shit, shit. They were not awaited and wrote a fixed function specific to our scenario that will safely await. Okay, it's not found. Let's say it needs to sign in. And to your asyncs, we use TS more for TypeScript EST to transfer function expression and arrow function to asynchronous function if they contain the keyword await. We ran the script alternatively until the async and await were read. It wasn't the most elegant solution and needed some manual tweaking, but it saved a lot of time. We finally made it. Okay, migrated on my wow. 4 months of migration tests to CodeSafeJS. Though we have to implement the migration as much as possible, we knew. Look at the car. What a beautiful car. Just like a DNA strand. We knew we could not migrate all the tests within the test platform team, so we reached out to other team through alignment request and worked with this team QA representative to keep teams accountable. Reaching out to the team worked well, but the nature of alignment requests were meant migration took months longer than expected because teams need to learn the migration, and we wait for the reducing startup time. So wow, really? Yeah, because that was the original problem, right? So 400 pixel bytes and 600 step definition file, 90-second NCM, 145-second in CodeSafeJS. Oh, got it. Yeah, top end Mac laptop. It is a painful experience waiting between the changes. Secondly, we TS moved to extra call step res access from step definition files and match the res access with the feature file step mentioned previously. Using this mention reduced the startup time to between 6 and 10 seconds. This was a significant reduction in wait times for local execution, but we also saw faster execution in CI builds. Okay, before, after 50% reduction in the CI. Additionally, we introduced a cache mechanism that will sort the step definition used from the previous run. Okay, lesson note, keep your tooling updated. Align with teams early and have a dedicated point of contact. Visualize progress. Wow. Test platform team. Oh, nice one. Ah, LinkedIn not found. Wow. University of Technology Sydney QA engineer at Canva. Automation test engineer. 2019. Test analyst at Sydney. Got it. Awesome. Awesome work by the team. I'm really happy that they were able to do that. That's it really pain to migrate your testing framework from whatever you are using to a totally different framework. So that's a really difficult task, at least for me, not for the world. Engineering practices, data platform, backend. We can check some backend also, right? So, oh, since it's a React interview stream, let's just stick with. Okay, let's just go to some other company because Canva all seems to be doing design things, a lot of design things. I can go into Airbnb, or I can go to uh, something like e-commerce site. Some e-commerce site could be hosting, or is also some sort of e-commerce site. I can tell that. So cookies, engineering, network validation, evolution. Is how to give a website. Kind of really boring. So, cPanel BBS hosting. I'm not interested in all these things. Airbnb tech blog, open source, web, nice. Building, I already read this, and how Airbnb smoothly upgrades React, rethinking text resizing, building faster web experience with post-tax and Airbnb server side driven. This is the one that we are looking after. Uh-huh. Server rendering code splitting lazy loading with React Router 4. Let's go. Again, migration. Lots of migration are there from Mocha to Jest. Re-architecting Airbnb is for. We can check this also. You can check this also. Performance fixes on Airbnb listing page. Let's just stick with this much. Source to React. Wow. This one. No, 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 no. It's okay for now. It's okay for engineering blocks also. Let's just close everything. Let's just get into it. Deep dive into Airbnb server driven UI system. What does this mean? How Airbnb ships feature faster across web, iOS, Android using a server driven UI system named Ghost Platform. Ryan Brooks. Hello, Ryan. What's up, Ryan? So background is server-driven UI. Before we dive into Airbnb's implementation of server-driven UI (SDUI), it's important to understand the general idea of SDUI and how it provides an advantage over traditional client-driven UI. Yeah, obviously, till now we have been using a lot of client-driven UI, and like especially in my case, I have been using client-driven UI, and so I want to understand what server-driven UI and all these things. So I'm pumped up. In traditional world, data is driven by the backend and the UI is driven by the each client, right? So as an example, let's take Airbnb's listing page. To show our user a listing, we might request listing data from the backend. Yeah, and the API will come. Upon receiving the listing data, client transforms the data into UI. That's all. That's what we have been doing till now. This comes with a few issues. First, there's listing specific logic built on each client to transform listing specific logic. Render that listing data. I mean, can that come in the data layer, right? And this logic become complicated quickly and is inflexible if we make changes to how listing are displayed down the road. Inflexible if we make changes to how listing are displayed. Okay, okay, I got it now. So since there are listing specific logic built on each client, and that logic is different for each client, so we need to send those logic from server to these clients. That's the idea for server driven UI. Second, each client has to maintain parity with each other. As mentioned, the logic for this screen gets complicated quickly, and each client has their own intricacies and specific implementation for handling state displaying UI sector. It's easy for clients to quickly diverge from one another. Finally, mobile has a versioning problem. Each time we need to add new feature to our listing page, we need to release a new version of our mobile app for users to get the latest experience. Until the users update, we have few ways to determine if users are using or responding well to these new features. The case of SDO. What if clients didn't need to know they were even displaying a listing? What if we could pass the UI directly to the client and skip the idea of listing data entirely? That's essentially what SDU does, and we pass both the UI and the data together, and the client displays the agnostic of the data it contains. Got it. Airbnb's specific SDU implementation enables our backend to control the data and how the data is displayed across all the clients at the same time. Everything from the screen layout, how sections are arranged in that layout, the data displayed in each section, and even the actions taken when user interact with the section is controlled by a single backend response across our web, iOS, and Android app. God damn. So Realme is different now. You mean? Mm, I'm thinking it as how are all these bigger applications, like for example Airbnb, right? How are they displaying content into its user? Thousands of users. Each will have its own kind of data, or will have its own logic, and for each user you have to send data in a specific manner, and UI might be different for each of them or same also. If it's client side, then they will totally have a same UI, but this says that your server server UI is coming is a server driven UI. So that's what I'm trying to understand. How and why do we even care, right? So everything from screen's layout, how sections are arranged in that layout, data displayed in this section, and even the action taken when user interacts with section is controlled by a single backend response approach. Wow. So there is no there is no concept of client side, everything server side. It means only the wireframes and a few of the static pages are in the client side. If it's static, but if it's dynamically changing, then it should be server driven UI. And SDUI at Airbnb is given by the Ghost platform. We don't know what Ghost platform is. I think it's their own unified, opinionated, server-driven UI system that enable us to iterate rapidly and launch features safely across web, iOS, and Android. Ghost because our primary focus is around guest and host feature. Is it open source? I'm curious. Wow. Is it open source? Not sure. Uh, Airbnb Ghost platform open source. It's not, I think. Rebirths. GHS. Chat. Wow. God damn it. Got it. Okay. This is continued and we can move forward. Okay. So to more of a React. So Ghost platform is unified opinionated server-driven UI system that enables to iterate rapidly and launch features. This way, iOS and Android is called Ghost because their primary focus is on guest and host feature inside of our Airbnb apps. GP provides websites and Android framework in each client's native language. Developers to create server-driven features with minimal setup. Core feature of GP is that user can share a library of generic section, layout, and action. Many backward compatible enable teams to ship faster and move complicated business logic to central location on the backend. Standardized schema. Backbone of the Ghost platform is a standardized data model that clients can use to render UI. Huh? Ghost platform is standardized data model that client uses to render UI. Ah! Backbone of the Ghost platform is standardized data model that client uses to render UI. To make this possible, GP leverages shared data layer across backend service using a unified data service mesh called Viaduct. Key decision that help us make our server-driven UI systems scalable was to use a single shared GraphQL schema for oh where we are using same schema for handling response and generating strongly typed data model across all of our platform. We have taken time to generalize the shared aspect of different feature and to account for its phase idiosyncrasies in a consistent, thoughtful way. The result is universal schema that's capable of rendering all feature on Airbnb. This scheme is powerful enough to account for reusable section, dynamic layout, soft path action, and more, and corresponding GP framework in our client application leverage this in standardized UI rendering. The GP response. Most fundamental aspect of GP is the structure of overall response. There are two main concepts in describe UI in the GP response: sections and screen. User view, GP screen view, GP section view. Got it. Routing, footer, main, nav. That's the GP screen view. Title section, details. Got it. Section are the most primitive building block of GPU. Section describe the data of a cohesive group of components containing the exact data to be displayed. All data translated, localized, formatted. Each client takes the section data and translates it into UI screen. Any GPU response has an average number of screens. Each screen describes the layout of a screen and transfer section on the screen. We also define another limited data. Okay, got it. Screens and sections. GPU response. Screen container. The feature backend built with GP will implement the GP response and populate the screen and section depending on their use case. GP client framework on web sections are the most basic building block of GP. The key feature of GP section is that they are entirely independent of all section and the screen on which they are displayed. By decoupling section from the context around them, we gain the ability to reuse and repurpose section without worrying about a tight coupling of the business logic. Section schema. In graphical schema, GP sections are union of all possible section type. Each section type specifies the fields they provide to be rendered. Sections are received in a GP response implementation which are provided through a section container wrapper which contains details about the section status, actual section data model. An important concept was in section component type. Okay. Cross title will use the image plus specific logo and okay. Section component. Each section component is responsible for transforming the data model and a section DI component. Android example. I'm an Android developer. To build a title section, we have the code snippets in below. Section titles, section title style. Wow. For section components such as our example, need to be configured carefully stylable and backward compatible. We can add up to any feature use case. Developer building new features on GP can add new section component as needed. Screen container, screen size, obviously screen eye layout, wide breakpoint using an interface called eye layout. The GP framework on this client then uses screen density, rotation, and other factors to determine which eye layout for to render. Layout for form factor, compact eye layout, single column, single section column, single column drawer. Action, and even landing infrastructure. One of the most game-changing aspects in the GP is to add defining a section and the layout of this component of response, and we can Define action taken when user interact with the user UI on the screen, such as tapping a button or swiping a card. We can do through an IXN interface in our schema. Single section placement, single section placement. I got it. Toolbar section, toolbar section component type toolbar. This is a GP framework. And avoid is action. One click action. Creating the section component. Nice. Like basically, it's a framework. Just like map or key value pairs are there for what kind of component to use, what kind of tool, what's the you know screen, what's the component type, and all these things. But that's what I got from there. So thorough rendering, code splitting, and lazy loading with React Router. Why is it being written by Airbnb? Okay. Step one, aligning on API data. But let's set aside for now. It was an option when it took place. We chose to align on V2 of our API. API V2 steps use the React prop types on the client. Okay. Non-API data config experiment phrases L10 and 1. Okay. I wanted n. So this is separate class of data. We will think of an API data and it includes application config, user specific experiment assignment, international license, local license, and similar console. Shifting on the fourth. We use Hypernova to server render React. But before we went deep on this refactor, it was a bit nebulous whether experimental delivery in a React component will blow up different server rendering, or if string translation available, the client will be reliably available on the server. Okay. So we one more some can mechanism for bootstrapping non-API data. Our internal kill switch library, our internal experiment library, internal bootstrap library, all have to hand off between Rails and React type. Prop type is okay. Default prop is this one. Class Hypernova bootstrap extend reactor component construct. They're still using class component. Wow. Use shape of bootstrap data as a plain old JavaScript. Supercharging in the front. The lazy loading is single page side. One of the restaurants or the monster single page app with a GUI some loading sniper on installation. This dead loading spinner was the object some manifold grace when we pitched the idea of client side routing with React router. So, I mean, why are they using class component? Can't they migrate every application to use, functional component? That can be done. Uh, can't it be? Like, This is particularly useful for heavy elements that are initially visible, like models and panel. Our explicit goal is to see precisely the actual potential and got it. Building accessible into our design language, accessibility into our design language. So in this way, they architect, architected the front end application. AMP version of always in the core booking flow will lead to sub-second TTI from Google Source and mobile web. PWA functionality will lead to sub-second TTI, dropping the final alignment on legacy tech demo will got bundle size in half. Okay, got it. We can think about all these things in, yeah, they are also okay. Migrating from Mocha. I'm not reading this, okay, so I'm not reading this. I'm really sorry for the moving area source to React. Can read this part. Let's read it later on. And I think mm, we should read this one now. This blog is important, so let's just read in another video. Okay, so for now, let's just. Oh, and by the way, we kind of made these, application. We kind of fixed our bug here when bug was given by Justad, and the issue was, like we kind of fixed it. Like the kind counter state will be given by Justad now, and minus will also work. So this is the progress that we have from yesterday's code, and yeah, now we will have all the other application here. So just stay tuned, guys, and god damn it, uh, yeah. So up next we will be reading this blog. So let's continue later on. Thank you guys for watching.